Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Senator Warren changing her tune. Keep an eye on her. We got Bitcoin in the news. German stock exchange correspondent. You've probably not seen this clip. And we got MICA EU crypto regulations and Ripple. And we got that and so much more. Somebody just wrote that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $2.36 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 4.1%. But look at these numbers now. Bitcoin over 60,200 plus, up 17.4% on the 7-day. Ethereum 3,300 plus, up 14.7% on the 7-day. Tether market cap 99.6 billion plus. We're getting ready to cross 100 billion market cap. That is an all-time high for sure. XRP at the number 7 spot at 58 cents here, up 4.9 on the 24-hour and up 7.6 on the 7-day. So most of that in the last 24 hours. Let's look at the range of price very quickly between 55 and 59 cents. We're closer to the top side of that movement. A lot of technical analysts are saying that XRP is out of the gate and there's no stopping it now. We will see. Obviously, time will tell, but I couldn't be more excited if that's the case. I say, let it rip, ladies and gentlemen. We have waited a long time. But let me tell you something. I want to bring this up because iTrust Capital, as you know, does have the best gold, crypto, silver IRAs on the planet, bar none. But what I want to remind you of very quickly right now is this. Now, I bought my Bitcoin inside of my IRA of crypto, of iTrust Capital. And let me tell you something. Since then, I have made over, because I said I bought one full Bitcoin because I wanted to have it in there just to have it and have exposure to it because of the spot ETFs. And you know what? I'm glad that I did, because now I'm sitting over $20,000 in profit that is not taxed. What are you waiting for? Click the link below and get yourself an iTrust Capital account and buy crypto tax-free. And if the market's doing bad, sell it into dollars, wait for the market to turn, then go back in and re-enter the space. That's the kind of power you have with iTrust Capital. No question about it. Perry Ann Boring putting up the good fight here. She's explaining how Elizabeth Warren misled nearly 20% of the entire U.S. Senate. Take a listen to this clip because it's important where we're going. Elizabeth Warren is now feeling the pressure of John Deaton coming for her seat. And remember, all of this lie that was pitched to mislead the U.S. Senate came from Elizabeth Warren.
A couple of weeks ago, there was an article published in the Wall Street Journal, and it was about the October 7th terrorist attack in Israel. And if you read the article, you would have been led to believe that the attack was fully funded by cryptocurrency in Bitcoin. The whole community was pretty upset about this and went into a frenzy. We submitted an official correction request to the Wall Street Journal saying, this is incorrect. You can't lead the public to believe that the attacks were fully funded by the cryptocurrency space. And you left out some critical details. I mean, one of the most important pieces of the story the Wall Street Journal left out is that Hamas actually put out a statement in April of last year announcing it will no longer accept donations in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in order to protect the identity of their donors. Like, they ceased accepting them. So was there money given to Hamas and cryptocurrency? Yes, but it was a very, very, very small amount, and they stopped taking it because, you can't conceal your tracks on a blockchain, right? So, I mean, it's just fundamental to how the technology works. So we submitted a correction request. They did correct the article, and they actually published our correction request as a letter to the editor, but they removed half of what I wrote. Instead of saying your article is misleading because this, and this, it just said this, and this. So, I mean, at least we got the article corrected, but it almost didn't matter because Senator Warren used that Wall Street Journal article to get a whole bunch more co-sponsors of the bill.
And that is the kind of dirty politics that she does every single day. Listen to this, Miss AntiCrypto Army. Remember, this woman, Senator Elizabeth Warren, said she was building an anti-crypto army. That's what she said. Well, listen now because she's scared of John Deaton.
I want to collaborate with the industry. What I don't understand is I want to collaborate with the industry. What I don't understand
That's a lie.
is why the industry seems to be saying that the only way that they can survive is if there's plenty of space for the drug traffickers and the human traffickers, and the terrorists and the ransomware scammers and the consumer scammers and the rogue nations, North Korea, that is financing about half of its nuclear missile program with crypto, that all of that has to be left open. You know, keep in mind, in our financial system, pretty much everybody follows the same set of rules.
Well, the problem is, Elizabeth Warren, is that you're out here spreading lies when you should be on Capitol Hill actually making those rules. You're literally given the job to get the rules done, right? But instead, you want to come up with some lie. I want to collaborate with the industry. No, you don't. That's where your anti-crypto army narrative came from. Not us. It came from you, your mouth that lies all the time. And I literally have not seen or heard one person in the digital asset space over the past 8 years that I've been in it fighting for anything other than clarity so everyone knows the rules to the road. These are very strong words from Elizabeth Warren that also happen to be lies. Vote Deaton, right? There's got to be accountability here, right? There's got to be accountability. Take a listen to this. If you have something that's best performing asset for 5, 10, 15-year periods, it's a store of value, says Joe Kernan.
59.
Yeah.
59. And what I was going to say last time when we were talking about it, 58, when we were talking about it, Andrew, time goes fast. You'll see the older you get. But we were talking about 26 or 27. Yep. Really, it seems like last week. It wasn't. It was a couple months ago. But we were wondering, what's going on? When is it going to move on the anticipation of the ETF? What about the Fed easing? Is that going to be what finally gets? And, you go to bed, wake up, it's 59, 58. That's unbelievable. It's almost back to where, you always point out how anybody who bought at 63 or 64 is losing money. You're not going to be able to say that pretty soon.
I won't be able to say that. People, if you held the whole time.
Well, you might be able to say it. It might go back down. That is one of the things that if you buy it, you better be ready for anything.
Which goes to the idea of, is this a store of value?
I don't think it does.
Is it speculation or is it a store of value?
No, I don't think that does. If you have something that's the best performing asset over 5, 10, and 15-year periods, it's a store of value. I'm ready to say that. I'm ready to give it the...
On the record.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to add to this. I would also argue if something that can weather an SEC lawsuit and mountains of FUD and almost zero coverage from mainstream media, Joe, well, that's not just a store of value or a best performing asset. That's XRP. A world reserve bridge currency being born right before your eyes. That's what I want to add to that, because that's coming. Just like the real news that's being delivered over in Germany, they're not bought and paid for over there, Joe. No. They can talk about Ripple and XRP, the asset. They can talk about it over there. They don't have to hide from it. They're not paid over there to pick the news.
I'll think about that when it's at $5. So from now on, a tenfold increase? At $10, I think that would be great. So these are the dimensions in which I initially think. Of course, there are already things on the internet like it has to be in 3 digits, it has to be in 4 digits. I can well imagine that happening. But until it reaches 3 digits, I'm sure, because it's going to go up in waves, goes. Went outside and went back in twice. In the sense of the first approach, in when out, I will expose it in waves. And the first wave that I hope comes is between $5 and $10.
You just said 3 times, including me, I think Ripple is good. Do you have Ripple shares?
Yes, there are these two worlds that I just discussed. I have both XRP coins in my family office as well as in Tocantin's investment AG. However, we are already very early.
And there you have it. So he's explaining not only does he believe it can go to 5, 10 digits and ultimately 3 to 4 digits, he's also saying, yes, family office owns XRP, the digital asset, and Ripple. And he goes on to say Ripple shares SPVs, which is exactly what they package at Link2. So I wonder if he actually got his private equity for Ripple through Link2. That would be fun to know, but you can, and the door's still open to do so. Make sure you sign up and register and get your private equity. I mean, how much longer is this going to go on? You know, how lucky are we to understand that there will be a public exit at some point, right? Whether we're talking about Circle, Link2, Ripple, or many other companies we've seen and that are coming down the pipe. I think 24, 25 is IPO season. So if you plan on getting private equity, you better make sure you do it. And then there was this little 59-second clip here from DAI. Shout out to him. Amazing rumor. Ripple wants to buy back 10 billion XRP in order to have higher price and more stable price. This is from June of last year. Take a listen to this because I just want to share some thoughts on this really quickly.
Zu Ripple ist noch zu sagen, da kam am Wochenende ein Wahnsinnsgerücht auf. Das möchte ich ganz kurz noch mal anteasen. Ja. Das Gerücht, dass Ripple 10 Milliarden XRP-Coins zurückkaufen möchte, um einfach mit der Begründung einen höheren Preis und einen stabileren Preis zu haben. Es ist ein Gerücht, was natürlich die Fantasie anregen könnte. Sie wurde noch nicht angeregt, wie man hier sieht anhand des Charts. Es hat sich also noch nichts nach oben getan, aber wenn ein IPO von Ripple kommen könnte, nachdem der Lawsuit beigelegt ist, dann hat man eventuell genug Geld, weil man redet von einem der größten IPOs, die es jemals gab, um so etwas zu tun. Und da kommen viele Faktoren zusammen, die dafür sprechen, dass Ripple eine gute Chance nach oben hat. Aber wie gesagt, man muss vorsichtig sein. Der Rechtsstreit ist nicht entschieden. Und so wie es nach oben geht, kann es auch nach unten gehen.
And there you have it. So really suggesting that, you know, there was a rumor a year ago that he was aware of that Ripple could want to buy back as much as 10 billion XRP. It's a rumor, right? But the biggest part of that I wanted to touch on is that he had said that you could see the largest IPO ever with Ripple. And I think that is highly possible. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think it's highly possible. And, you know, let us not forget, and I had reported on this plenty of times during the case, when the SEC versus Ripple case was really in full throes. And obviously we still have one piece of that case still left to resolve. But I remember covering heavily over the years, Ripple was buying back XRP. They made it very transparent in their quarterly reports, right? And they had stopped programmatic sales to secondary market. So they were only selling to people who were ODL partners, and they were buying back XRP as well. And that made sense to me because that sounds like good, sound monetary policy. Just like the Fed issues treasuries and then they buy them back as well. Again, I believe XRP ultimately is money of some sort. And what I see Ripple doing, exercising what I think is monetary policy on a very young asset, is the right way to handle it. And that is the other reason why I see so many people from the U.S. Treasury, whether it's Craig Phillips, Michael S. Barr, whether it's Susan Friedman or Rosie Rios, all of these people are from the Treasury, as well as former presidential administration officials, right, that are on the board of Ripple. That looks more like a transition team. That looks more like the U.S. government has recognized the power of Ripple, the technology of XRP in the ledger, and has understood for more than a decade that they need to be in transition with Ripple. That's why I believe it's as much a commission company as it was startup, because it's necessary. Because ultimately, this is about relieving the spillover shocks and stress on the U.S. dollar that is currently serving as the world reserve currency. And we're watching the petrodollar agreement, which elevates the U.S. dollar at that status, be unwound from underneath of it. What's the next thing to underpin it? If you do this right, like pouring one bucket of liquidity from one bucket to another bucket, if you do this properly, you can move and tokenize the liquidity and move it over to the ledger. And there will be more than one chain. It's a multi-chain world we're going to. I'm not suggesting that. But I am suggesting that the XRP ledger also operates as a decentralized exchange for everything of value in the world. It just needs to be onboarded and paired. Period. So when I see this kind of, whether it's a year old or a rumor, when I see these things and him mentioning about the possible largest IPO ever, I think it could be. I also believe it has the ability to, replace SWIFT and replace it, the functionality of the Federal Reserve. I also believe that if you get enough liquidity and utility onto the ledger, and if you wanted to do this right, there is a way to sit down. There's multiple ways, obviously, but there's certainly a way that you could sit down and you could end up controlling the price of XRP while remaining an open market. You could move and set and adjust the price of XRP just like you do the interest rate with the Federal Reserve. Sound crazy? It could happen. They could create a CBDC wholesale backend that only the central banks use. It's not for retail use. And the U.S. Treasury could peg a denomination dollar value to that token. And as more liquidity comes on it, it could start out as a $10 bill. It could start out pegged to a $10 bill, wholesale CBDC. It could start out moving once the liquidity jumps up to a $50 bill, a $200 bill, a $500 bill, to measure the liquidity and guarantee from the reserves on the ledger that price is good. It's no longer just the word and full faith and confidence of the U.S. government. It would be with the backing of reserve assets from every area and sector of the economy. You can't get a stronger dollar than that. That, I hope, is the world we're moving to, and that would give U.S. dollar dominance and support to a stable coin, front-end retail-facing market that would be, bar none, more dominant than anything mankind has ever seen when it comes to money. Let's look at this. Why MICA is important. The EU crypto MICA regulations. Oh, you're going to like this. Smoke is better. Let me tell you something. You better give smoke a follow, because wherever you see smoke, there's fire. Fire. Bam, boom, dun, bam, boom, dun. See, you don't know unless you're old enough to know. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. So let's go ahead and get a look at this, because we know the regulatory framework for stable coins and crypto assets that is MICA in the EU set international precedent for crypto legislation, met with only one crypto company, and you guessed it, Ripple. 8222. Hello. That look like a failure to you? Because it doesn't to me. And here you see the reinforcement through the language here. I'm not going to beat you up with it. You saw who met with them. Bitcoin didn't meet with them. Ethereum didn't meet with them. And how about this hypothesis where we're talking about XRP possibly being money? Wrath of Common says the thing about Ripple using AI to manage XRP liquidity is that more than price, they'd want tight margins to reduce payment slippage. Therefore, we might conclude AI supercharges buy and sell times and arbitrary, ultimately stabilizing price. Does this check out? Oh, I think it does, Wrath of Conman. And I remind people, and you might not even be a fan of it yourself, and that's okay, I don't mind. A stabilization mechanism doesn't necessarily have to be a peg. All we need to know is how this is understood and regulated in the eyes of a regulator and a banker. That is what we're waiting for. Well, automated market makers, in the combination with auto bridging and pathfinding and every other great feature that's coming to the XRP ledger, in the eyes of a banker and a regulator, look more like a global stablecoin that acts as a world reserve bridge currency, when these features are permanent amendments to the XRP ledger. Is that what we're going to see? I don't know the answer. But I tell you one thing, I know we're dead in the water if XRP gets treated the way Bitcoin does, according to banks and the BIS. XRP market cap $1 trillion. This is just the beginning. They look back at the staggering surge of 2017, which was 100,000%. So the idea that a 7,000% increase in the near term is not so hard to believe if you understand the history of XRP, the way EWarren breaks it down for us. What I want to break down for you guys here is this, that on the short side, achieving just 7% gain from 2017 is extremely achievable. This time, alternatively, comparing the 2021 increase around 1,600%, which would put the market cap at around $235 billion, then dividing the $235 billion market cap by the circulating supply of $55 billion, suggests a $4.20 move. And then here also let us push the near Fibonacci 1.212 levels, which would give us a $300 billion market cap and put us more like $5.50. You could see the chart right here and the history past. We know the jumps and what they show us, right? But here's what I want to show you, because we hear $27 talked about a lot, and it's asked, what should the market cap be to reach $27? EWarren says 1.485 trillion. That's a very specific number, so I take it EWarren looked that up and charted it out, and we greatly appreciate it, no doubt about it. So there's your numbers, and that's where we're at. And right now we're going into the Freedom Zone, and I hope you'll join us. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Speaking of AI, artificial intelligence, we're going to hear about how it's going to really ruin the world and throw us into a dystopian world that none of us are ever going to want. You're going to hear a perspective on that now. It's a lot to consider and think about. I hope you'll join us at digperspectives.com. Click the Freedom Zone and come on in. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. All right.